Is the long nightmare of the Cuban people finally approaching its end, or are we witnessing the final, desperate gasps of a collapsing regime? For decades, the Castro family has operated with total impunity, but a massive federal indictment handed down on Cuban Independence Day has sent shockwaves through the halls of power in Havana, leaving the ruling class in a state of absolute, paralyzing fear. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in US politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and ensures you don't miss our deep dives into the stories the mainstream media often ignores. The situation in Cuba has shifted dramatically. Congressman Carlos Jimenez, a member of the House Homeland Security Committee and someone who knows the reality of the dictatorship firsthand, describes a regime gripped by paranoia. While Miguel Díaz-Canel acts as the public face of the government, the true architect of terror remains Raul Castro. This indictment isn't just a piece of paper, it's a reckoning. It centers on the 1996 downing of 2 humanitarian aircraft in the Strait of Florida, an act of cold-blooded murder against American citizens that Castro essentially admitted to on tape. For years, families of the victims have waited for justice, and now, that justice is moving from a distant hope to a legal reality. But this is about more than just the past. The atmosphere in Havana is thick with tension. The island is suffering through rolling blackouts, economic ruin, and mounting public unrest. When you combine that domestic instability with a U.S. administration that is finally taking the threat seriously, the power structure in Cuba begins to look remarkably fragile. Representative Jimenez and other key figures, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, are emphasizing that the current regime is rotting from the inside out. They point specifically to GESA, a military-led entity that controls the vast majority of Cuba's economy, enriching the elite while the average citizen struggles to survive. The federal government has recently taken steps to target the leadership of this organization, signaling that the government within a government is no longer untouchable. Some are now asking the big question: is a military mission, similar to what we saw in Venezuela, on the horizon? While every situation has its own unique geopolitical fingerprint, the presence of Guantanamo Bay provides a unique strategic advantage for the United States. Jimenez notes that while Gitmo isn't the total solution, its presence serves as a constant, psychological weight on the regime. The message being sent to Raul Castro is clear: keep looking over your shoulder, because Uncle Sam is watching, and for the first time in a long time, the US government is actually serious about bringing the hammer down. This isn't just about political posturing, it's about holding a regime accountable for decades of torture, imprisonment, and the murder of American citizens. The activists and protesters on the streets of Cuba are now starting to believe that they aren't alone anymore. They are realizing that for the first time in 65 years, the federal government in Washington might actually have their back. The regime is currently playing a game of survival, hoping they can wait out the pressure, but the net is tightening. Whether it's through targeted sanctions, legal indictments, or the threat of a more significant U.S. presence, the days of the Castro dynasty ruling without consequence are clearly numbered. The psychological pressure is taking its toll, and as the regime forces look inward, they are finding that the walls of their own creation are closing in. So, I want to hear from you. Do you believe that this indictment is the tipping point that will finally lead to the end of the Castro regime, or is this just another political move that will end up stalling? Is it time for more direct intervention to support the people of Cuba, or should we keep our distance? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know what you think about this historic turn of events. The truth is, the geopolitical map of the Caribbean is shifting, and the ripple effects of this indictment will be felt for years to come. We are watching history unfold in real time, and we will be here to track every update as the situation in Havana continues to develop. Stay tuned, stay informed, and keep watching as we hold power accountable.